And it is week 3 of the NFL season. It's week 3 of the Mojobreak Blitz. I'm Cody. Alongside me are Doug and Dan. And luckily, we're healthy. No late scratches here. I can't really say the same for the NFL. I'd love to say that the games and the scores were the story this week, but guys, unfortunately, it feels like the injuries is what really were the headlines for week 2 of the NFL. What were some of the takeaways you guys had before we dig into week 3 here?
All right, Doug.
That was the nod.
No,
that was the nod. Go ahead and go first.
Well, I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at you. But usually you take it first and then I come back. But obviously, it sounds like you don't know what to say. So
no, I do. I
basically
just feel bad that sometimes I jump in and I just state my opinion.
Hey, you're the leader
else.
in the clubhouse, Dan, with the
that,
standings.
well,
so you get
know,
the lead.
Exactly.
All I do is win. All I do is win. So
no matter what.
No, I mean, you're right. Injuries, brutal. I think we've already kind of speculated that this could be the case this season without, the typical OTAs and the preseason. You just hate to see some of the marquee players in the league go down, the Saquon Barkleys, the Christian McCaffreys. I mean, fantasy football took a significant hit this week, and you either love it or you hate it, but there's no doubt in a lot of leagues, the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick out, one out for the year, one out for an extended period of time. Drew Lock getting hurt. He's out for a while. Cortland Sutton, his number 1 target, and Denver out for the year. Not even getting to the defensive players. I can't even believe Doug's doing this show today. He's sad. He's sad. Nick Bosa out for the year. His backup, 2nd overall pick, Solomon Thomas from Stanford, out for the year.
He's done. Yeah.
And it's crazy because, generally Niner fans, and again, we're going to swing this back to the Bay Area, you were hearing, man, Solomon Thomas bust. Why do we draft him? Why do we draft him? And then he gets hurt, and everybody's like, what are we going to do? Not Solomon Thomas. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bosa is my PC guy, too, so that takes a bigger hit. But I guess on the brighter side of that is I might be able to buy some cards cheaper this year compared to last year. But, Solomon Thomas, I guess it hurts more because it was a serviceable backup. And he was going to have some time to shine. I wasn't one of those Niner fans that was, obviously you don't want anybody hurt, but at the same time, Nick Bosa I was getting over that, and then, you pour some more salt on the wound with Thomas going down. My question here to you guys and you guys watching is, there was all this rumblings about eliminating preseason games. I agree that 4 is too many, but are the owners and the Players Association next year going to take this? I know it's only week 2, but are we going to take this data? Are we going to say, A, is it COVID, or is it B, no preseason? So are they going to be strongly doing preseason going forward? What are your thoughts?
I think sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no!
I'm doing a great job today of just talking over everybody.
Look, maybe we needed a preseason as well.
Yeah, maybe we do.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't think it's the preseason games. I think it is more of a typical OTA schedule and off-season schedule that really is affecting the players right now.
No, that's exactly, Dan, what I was going to say is that I think it's not just the preseason. It's that mini camps were affected. Training camps were affected. Everything was affected. You saw it in baseball as well, that stop and start where they were in spring training. They stopped for months. They only get 3 weeks to ramp it up, and injuries kept piling up. I think that's what you're seeing in the NFL. And just to give you a rundown of exactly who's hurt, we mentioned Nick Bosa, the torn ACL. His season is over. Saquon Barkley, another torn ACL. His season is over. Bruce Irving of the Seattle Seahawks, they're calling that an ACL injury. His season is over. Christian McCaffrey, the high ankle sprain, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Drew Lock, quarterback of the Broncos, a sprained AC joint. He's out for 3 to 5 weeks. Jimmy Garoppolo, a high ankle sprain. He's week to week. Devontae Adams of the Green Bay Packers, he's week to week with a hamstring injury. Safety Malik Hooker of the Colts, he's got a torn Achilles. His season is over. Tyrod Taylor, maybe the craziest injury of them all, a punctured lung. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, if you're a Simpsons fan, were saying apparently their team doctor is Dr. Nick, which sounds about right. Just a crazy injury there. But which of these guys, obviously defensive players, are not as prominent in the hobby, but what does a torn ACL do for a guy like Saquon Barkley, who was really the top running back, not only in fantasy, but one of the top running backs in terms of cards? What does this do? Because, I mean, a torn ACL is not just something you bounce back from. Is this could this be something where in a few months' time we're seeing Saquon Barkley cards for just dirt cheap on eBay?
Yeah, I mean, I think the trend's already starting to happen. I mean, he's obviously a supreme talent. I think the New York Giants are a mess. They haven't been able to utilize him. They obviously didn't do their due diligence on getting a good line or maybe even a good scheme there in New York. As we've seen in the first couple games with New York, it seemed like as soon as they hiked the ball, there was 4 or 5 guys in the backfield, and Saquon became like Barry Sanders, trying to dance around everybody and just wasn't getting anywhere. He was also injured early as well in his career. So, I mean, does he get the injury-prone tag? I don't know. But I think, his injury is probably the biggest hit to our hobby. I think guys are going to, that invested heavy on him are going to get burned, especially first season prices when he was the top seller that year. He came out and he was the guy in 18. That was the guy that led off the season that everybody wanted because of his storied college career. I think Drew Lock hurts as well, but he might come back this year, so you may be able to save his value. But people, based on those performances those last couple games last year, people were thinking that Drew Lock, is the next John Elway for Denver, and the weapons they drafted Judy, Cortland Sutton's now out too, which is going to take a hit in his value. So I think those are the 2 biggest hits in our hobby. McCaffrey's hurt as well, which his value is starting to go up, but I think he might be back sooner than the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reiterate. I was gonna say from a monetary standpoint, the quarterback is the key position when it comes to value of cards. And Drew Lock, his cards in the offseason late last year when he got the starting nod were trending upwards, and they were going up fast, especially after the draft, getting new weapons, named the starter, essentially, I mean, given the reins by John Elway. He's going to be the savior of the franchise. They finally got their franchise quarterback. I think what really, really hurts him, besides actually being out, 3-4 weeks, however long it is losing his number 1 target.
Yeah.
Losing Cortland Sutton.
That's big.
I know they have Jerry Jeudy, but that's a rookie. Wide receiver position, historically kind of hard to jump into the league and put up crazy numbers. Usually it's your second and third year in the same system where you really start putting it together stat-wise. I think Drew Lock in our hobby is the biggest value hit.
Yeah, I think, luckily for Locke, as we mentioned, this feels more like bump in the road. Obviously losing your top target is a really, really big hit for him, but only out for a few weeks, hopefully, here. Whereas I think a guy like Saquon Barkley, there's going to be a longer road to building up that value again. And for McCaffrey, too, where, again, just a few weeks. So it's a shame just from a football standpoint, from the quality of play, to see so many big names all go down so early in the season. So it's a next man up mentality in the NFL, but just as a fan, it's just rough to see so many great, talented players, faces of the game, get hurt and are done for early in the season. But despite all these injuries, there were a lot of interesting performances over the weekend, a lot of big stars in week 2, especially in quarterbacks, which we'll focus on in just a little bit. But I do want to start with the running backs because the big name in week 1 was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everyone was talking about him, a huge debut on Thursday night, opening night. And suddenly the entire conversation for rookie running backs has shifted to Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor had a big day for the Indianapolis Colts, over 100 yards rushing. Another interesting rookie player to keep an eye on. And what do you guys think? And Dan, we'll start with you. This Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Jonathan Taylor thing, are we going to be talking about another rookie running back in week 3? Is this just going to be just rinse and repeat? We're going to have a new guy every single week this season.
I mean, it very well could be. I think even before the season started, from a running back standpoint, rookie running back standpoint, it was Edwards-Helaire and Jonathan Taylor. There's a lot of talk about Jonathan Taylor, but I think with the injury to Marlon Mack, that really opened up the door for him to be kind of the every down back. I know they have Nyheim Hines, who is a great pass-catching running back out of the backfield, usually on third downs. But I think it's going to be a week-to-week basis. Last week, I think we were talking about the Chiefs and the game plan defenses are going to have going against them. They're going to have to pick and choose who's going to beat them. Is it going to be the running game or is it going to be the passing game with Mahomes? So I think the Chargers went in there with a mindset saying, hey, we're not – and they did a great job. We're not going to let the rookie running back beat us. We're going to try to figure out a way for Mahomes to beat him. He did. Mahomes is one of those guys that you just can never count him out of a game at this point. Very similar to vintage Drew Brees and vintage Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Like, you just have a feeling that if there's a minute and a half left in a game and they're down by 7 points, they're probably going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think this running back scenario in the hobby, and we have the prices on the screen there, and you can see that Jonathan Taylor's price is very close to what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is selling at the moment. So if you're looking from an investing, flipping standpoint, I mean, it is a game-by-game thing where, we've got Jerome Robinson from the Jaguars, who was undrafted, who got 100 yards last week. They're playing tonight. If he gets another 100 yards, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get your Jerome Robinsons ready. So, and that's also going to play into the whole injury aspect of things. The most injured player typically is a running back. So it's hard to make a long-term investment, especially what we just talked about with Saquon. There was so many people paying thousands of dollars for Saquon cards. And this was when the industry wasn't even half the size as it is now. So, it's so volatile to put your money into any running back. Obviously, if you're a Jaguar fan and you're not planning on selling it, you buy a Jerome Robinson, same thing with Edwards-Helaire. But if you're looking at values, it's really hard to kind of play that game with it. You got to be ready on your eBay or ready on your COMC to unload it maybe right after that big 100-yard game, because you're seeing Edwards-Helaire fluctuate with a couple $100 within a week. And he just may have not even been part of the plan for the offense against who they're playing. And that's the other thing to consider. If they're going to play a team that's, got a good front or good linebackers, maybe he's not getting the ball. So now he has 40 yards a game. Oh, it's a bad game. I don't want to collect him anymore. So obviously I think the stats prove that the quarterback is still the investment for the hobby. Maybe receivers start getting some more because we're getting less injuries from receivers. We're seeing more flashy plays out of them. So something to think about.
Yeah. I'd like to little tidbit on here, but you're saying like with the running back position, I think it's more of if we're talking about the flipping mentality, it's gonna have to be the quick play.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like if you're a Jaguars fan and you want to hold on and you just want to hold on to it for your PC, that's one thing. But if you're looking to make money on the running back position, you have to speculate a week or two ahead of time. If that player goes off that week, you probably already missed the boat.
Yeah.
Because like we saw with Edwards-Helaire, if you were picking him up, right after his week 1 game, then you were paying a premium. You needed to get into him 2 to 3 weeks before that game and speculate.
And that was the tricky thing, is that Mosaic came out Friday after the Thursday game. So it was almost already too late for that product. Now, maybe if you had Chronicles or stuff that's already came out, maybe you did well with that. But it was already too late for his Silver Mosaics, which tend to be the card of the moment right now until something else bigger and better comes out, which is probably Prism. But at the moment, like, people were selling those Silver Mosaics like for $300-$400 right out of the gate, and now they're back down to around $100 to $200. So
yeah, I mean, And I'll give another rookie running back that you can basically project and speculate now. He's injured, so that actually may be a good time to buy his cards. And you've seen every running back in this system so far put up pretty substantial yards.
Gonna be a homer
It's going to be a homer, but it's a good one for value. Cam Akers might be a guy that you buy right now. Now, I could almost guarantee you that he's going to put up a big game at some point this season. Then that's when you basically unload. You unload, but you basically can go through and try to pick up his cards. He's not going to play this week. I don't think he's going to play for a couple weeks. He has some type of cartilage issue in his ribs. So this could be a prime time to speculate on a running back, wait for that 1 week, and then unload.
Yeah, it's definitely the flipper mentality with the running back class. And the one thing, though, I want to bring this up to you guys, because if you're a guy maybe who's just hell-bent on having a long-term running back investment, obviously seeing Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley even more so go down, kind of demoralizing. But the guy who I think is very quietly become the top running back and now has a chance to really take that shine in the NFL plays in Green Bay. That would be Aaron Jones, right now leading the league in all-purpose yards. He's one of the top running backs in the league last year. He's just 25 years old. I think a guy that, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, I think this is a guy who is, if you're looking for some sort of long-term running back investment, if that's really what you want to do, maybe this is the guy you look at. I just have some prices up of a Jonathan Taylor rookie that is way outsold a rookie auto of Aaron Jones. I don't know. Doug, am I crazy to think Aaron Jones is a pretty good play here? If you're looking for somebody, this could be the beginning of a huge year, especially now with Devontae Adams out in Green Bay. So for Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones is your biggest weapon left that's healthy on the offense at the moment.
I don't disagree. I think there's a couple factors going against him. He's part of the 2017 rookie class, which means he's part of the same rookie class with Patrick Mahomes, which means the wax is almost untouchable at this point.
Totally outpriced.
Price-wise. I mean, you know, some of these contenders boxes are $2,000, $3,000. Right. Prism, which we see here, is it's some godly amount, $5,000, $6,000 a box. I mean, Green Bay loves its players. There's a big fan base in Green Bay. I know it sounds silly because he obviously seems like he's the most talented running back in the league at the moment, but is 2017 just too long ago?
Well, he put up a great year last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
As you know that. Now we're talking about my fantasy guy here. So, I mean, he's pretty much the only bright spot I got on my fantasy team
last year too.
I did have Saquon, and people are probably like, what kind of league are you in where you can get Saquon and then Aaron Jones? And I'm like, I'm in a league with Doug. I
don't have either of those guys, and I'm first place. I'm first place with more points than everybody else.
But then correct me if I'm wrong. 2017, it's a million years ago in the hobby. Was Aaron Jones a rookie premier guy?
He wasn't. It was actually Jamal Williams as a running back that they thought was going to be more of the future for Green Bay. I don't even know if he's still on the team. He might be. Yeah. But obviously Aaron Jones is the guy there.
So Aaron Jones wouldn't be in every product.
Right.
He would be in probably contenders, 2017 contenders. He'd have autos. I don't know if he's a short print. But 2017 contenders is a bit pricey.
Right.
So that's the thing. You wouldn't be able to go through and find the Phoenix and the Illusions and, the second and third tier products that kind of slip through certified and stuff like that, because it's all super pricey.
Right.
But don't buy products thinking that he's going to be in it, because he may not be.
Same thing with Mostert. You can actually say the same thing. We're not a rookie premier guy, but the only guy since Jim Brown to have 270-plus yard touchdowns in back-to-back games. And also to go to the, obviously had a great NFC Championship game against those Packers. His cards went up during the NFC Championship time, but not as much now. Once again, 2017 is a long time ago.
I just, getting back to the running backs, I think it is truly has to be a quick play, quick flip mentality. Holding on to these players, holding on to these cards, thinking that they're going to appreciate and go up in that position, highly unlikely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and you saw it this weekend. I mean, literally the two top guys go down with injuries, so it's just.
I mean, and here's a quick
position.
question before we move on. Can you see any modern day running back having 6 successful years in a row?
My gut would have said McCaffrey, but also you would think maybe he just wears out from getting so much a bulk of that offense, and maybe we finally saw it come to a head this weekend with the injury. But my gut would have said him, if anybody, but no, probably not.
I mean, honestly, if you look at, and I think we're talking about him coming up here, is if you look at Russell Wilson, who was drafted in 2012, it basically took about 6-7 years for his Cards to really get where they're at now, which is they're insane, because I think the longevity of it is this guy's won a Super Bowl, this guy is the guy, I'm going to buy this guy now. And I just don't see that for running backs if they had 5 good years, which is very hard to do. It's such a hard position. And we're gone from the days of the Roger Craigs, the Marshall Falks, the Walter Paytons even farther back, and rest in peace, Gale Sayers. We're gone from those days where the teams are going to throw the ball for 100 yards and run for 300 yards. It's not going to happen anymore in the modern NFL. And these guys are just getting banged up constantly. It's just a position that doesn't, last very long. There's no longevity at the position.
Yeah, and it's a prime example why you see most teams have gone to 3, in some cases even 4 running backs that all consistently get the ball. Like, even 10 years ago, you would have like the LaDainian Tomlinsons and the Steven Jacksons, Larry Johnson, that like they were the running back, and they may go out for a play or two here and there, but like they're going to get 30 carries a game. That is not the culture for that position in the NFL anymore. Yeah. You are going to be lucky to get 12 to 15 touches, and you're going to have running back 2, running back 3 who are also going to share in the touches as well.
And you look at Le'Veon Bell and Melvin Gordon and all these guys were kind of ahead of their time, knowing that, hey, if I'm 28, I'm pretty much done, as far as, so they were holding out on their best years to try to make sure that, because they know that, hey, by the time I'm 30, they're going to just draft whoever they can in the first, second round, third round, whatever. Even fourth round now guys are coming out and they're taking starting jobs. So I think you kind of seen that trend with those guys trying to ask for more money and hold out for longer contracts.
Yeah, and I think it maybe even makes, as good as these guys are, like a guy like Alvin Kamara who got paid, maybe it makes it a little more of a head scratcher that these teams are giving out these big contracts, still knowing everything we know and seeing teams have success in sort of a running back by committee situation, a la what the 49ers did to get to the Super Bowl last year. But let's talk about the quarterback, the premium position in the hobby and in football. 3 guys I want to mention Kyler Murray and the hype. If you want to hear about that, go over on the hype. It's on Mojobreak and Mojobreak Media, both YouTube channels. But let's focus on 3 guys who had big weeks here. First off, Dak Prescott, who, this is a guy I feel like has gotten a lot of undue hate, a lot of criticism. I've always liked Dak Prescott. I might be alone in that. I've always thought he's a lot better than people give him credit for, and I feel like he proved it over the weekend with that huge comeback victory over the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons, of course, all they do in Texas is blow huge leads late in the game. Russell Wilson, obviously an all-world QB right now. Just one stat that I heard about Wilson that is just out of this world. He's thrown 9 touchdown passes this year. He's on pace. I know it's crazy. It's early. He's on pace for 72 touchdown passes. 9 touchdown passes, only 11 incomplete passes. He's only got 2 less touchdown passes than incomplete passes. Incredible stat line he's putting up. And then the other guy would be Josh Allen, who for the second straight week put up big numbers. He is suddenly, with no Tom Brady in the AFC East, he is the premier QB in the AFC East. He's got the 3rd best QB rating in all of football right now. The only guys ahead of him are Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson. So of these 3 guys, I'll start with you, Dan. Who jumped out to you the most this weekend, and what do you think? I've got the values currently for them. Russell Wilson just way ahead of the pack in a recent sale, but you see Josh Allen there and Dak Prescott as well. Which of these guys right now really stood out to you? Over the weekend?
Dak Prescott, bizarre. 2016, right? Mm-hmm. Set the hobby football category on fire. It was him and Elliott, and it was like the Cowboys were such the team to get that year that like we actually had to break the Cowboys down into 3 spots. There was at some breaks had Prescott, Elliott, and then all the rest of the Cowboys because it was like the one team that you wanted if you were doing a random team break. And to see, it's hard to pinpoint like what the hobby thinks of Dak Prescott because it's been like peaks and valleys. You've seen his cards go way up 2016 and then 17, 18 way down, like to the point where like you can get some really, really nice cards of Dak Prescott for a fraction of what you can get other quarterbacks in the league. And you look at what team he plays for. Then you had that little contract thing, and you didn't know if he was going to actually be on the Cowboys. So I think people were even unloading Dak Prescott even more. So I don't know. It's hard to really pinpoint Dak Prescott. I still think Josh Allen is the guy to buy, the guy to hold on to. He is definitely, I think, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Maybe not top 5. Maybe he is in the top 5. I don't know, but he's definitely got some great years ahead of him.
Yeah, and I was just patting myself on the back because I did call the Josh Allen. I mean, it's not like it wasn't a flyer, but if you listen to our first show, Josh Allen was my guy.
Yep, Bills Mafia represent. Yep.
And he's out there. I think he's the number 1 fantasy scorer right now, at least in the league that I'm in. But Dak, I'm not a fan of Dak. And you could see, I mean, that is a cracked ice contenders that sold for $3,400, quite significantly less than most of the quarterbacks that are winning. I know $3,400 is a lot of money. As we remember, we had the auto pen scandal in 2016 where he was signing his cards with a machine. And I think, you know what? You could say what you want to say. I know football's first. Maybe his endorsements with Adidas are first and Panini's last. I just don't like people that kind of cheat their way around business and provide something that they got paid for. They kind of do workarounds and have a machine sign autographs for their fans. From that point, I kind of lost respect from him. I know he had Jason Garrett. Now he has Mike McCarthy, which is still kind of weird for me to see Mike McCarthy in the Cowboys, in the Cowboys gear or whatever he wears on the sideline. Yeah. I think they're a great team. I think they have one of the best lines. They also have one of the best running backs, so he's very, very fortunate. I actually like Jimmy Garoppolo much better than Dak Prescott if I'm drafting a team.
Wow. That's quite a statement, and I, as a 49er fan, I feel like it's quite a statement. But it is one that is a comparison I've heard though a lot.
I think the guts are there.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Well, how many playoff games has Dak Prescott won?
I mean, that's fair, but Dak Prescott was not playing with the quality of defense that Jimmy Garoppolo was always playing with. And don't get me wrong, I am a Jimmy Garoppolo defender. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for as well. But, yeah, I think, I kind of think something about being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, I think people always expect something more of you. Mm-hmm. We saw Tony Romo years, and yes, Tony Romo, the playoffs, couldn't get it done a lot of years, but talking from a fantasy perspective, I always made sure to get Tony Romo like in the 10th or 11th or 12th round because it was like he's giving me just as much production as guys who are the 5th quarterback taken or the 3rd quarterback taken or whatever it may be. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And the Prescott card sells. This is right after a huge comeback, so you would think this is his peak value right now. He is on top of the world, and yeah, as you mentioned, if it's that quality of a card for that kind of price, maybe the mountain is not that peak is not where it is going to be for other.
One thing we probably got to look at is what his, because this is the contenders is the old man card now. We got to maybe see what his Prism Silvers are going for.
That's a good point.
It probably won't go for as much as 3,400, but I think that'll be surprising to you as how much those go for. There's his silver prisms. But yeah, I don't know. I've never really been a fan of his, and I think he's better than half the other quarterbacks in the league, but I don't think he's top 10.
I think his cards can absolutely go up. I mean, we're discounting the fact that he plays for the Cowboys, America's team, and he wins a Super Bowl.
Oh, it skyrockets.
It's going to go through the roof. Yeah. I mean, that card that you're looking at there could be a $15,000 card.
He's not going to win a Super Bowl, though. So.
I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks, I think, in the league, getting back to the hobby trend with quarterbacks, there's a lot of good value out there. And right now, because Doug and I always talk about what's hot, like the new booty. Like right now, Kyler Murray, everybody's like zoned in on Kyler Murray.
I don't think they are. I think they're still
No,
more
I think
Burrow.
Burrow, Kyler Murray, you know, people like lock in on certain names, but there's, you know, probably 12 to 15 other quarterbacks that are performing that have cards that are extremely undervalued because all the money is being pushed at 1 to 2 to 3 different
Well, that was
names.
what happened with Russell Wilson.
So
I think you're finally starting to see it now.
I mean, I'll rattle some off. I mean, we basically can just go back. Like Jameis Winston. I'm a big fan of Jameis Winston. I actually think Jameis Winston may be starting at some point for the Saints. His RPA is relatively inexpensive. Same rookie class. You look at Marcus Mariota, probably not on that. The Raiders, barring an injury from Carr, I don't see Mariota getting on the field. But how about Jared Goff? Jared Goff has been extremely efficient. The Rams are 2-0. High-profile team, gets a lot of primetime games.
Cam Akers and now Jared Goff. Huh? You want to talk about Aaron Donald?
No,
next,
but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I see your
I mean,
point.
you can't deny that Jared Goff, all things considered, is undervalued in the hobby.
He doesn't run. He's stone feet out there.
And Tom Brady doesn't run?
Well,
Tom Brady's a burner?
6 Super Bowls compared to 0. I think there's a big difference.
No, I mean, but I'm actually, and this is, you know, off the dome, but I'm pretty sure if you look at a Jared Goff RPA from National Treasures, remember, he is the first overall pick.
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised with how little it's going for.
No, I think he's not flashy is why his cards aren't selling, but I think if he did win a Super Bowl somehow, which also won't happen, but if he did, then his cards will go up.
Yeah, if you're looking at last year maybe as a bump in the road, which, you know, I'll admit I did not think that the Rams will look as good as they have to start the season here. And if it all turns around, then, yeah, maybe you are looking at some sort of increase in value here for Jared Goff, and that would be a really nice play.
It really, I mean, obviously, Homer Rams fan, and I watch every minute of every game. It really starts with their offensive line. Their offensive line is healthy this year, and they look like a really, really good unit. They're giving Jared Goff time.
I'm trying to find out an RPA.
They're giving him time in the pocket. When Jared Goff sets his feet and is not getting rushed, he, in my opinion, is one of the best pocket passers in the league.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
When he is rushed, and you could say it's about a lot of quarterbacks, but when he is rushed and there is defenders in his face and he doesn't get to set his feet, that's where the wheels start coming off.
Well, I mean, you'd actually be surprised. It is that's a number to 25, but a number to 25 PSA 10 sold for $4,351.
But you're looking at an LA team, and that right there, that is a National Treasures RPA. That is the best card rookie patch auto that you can get of that player.
Yeah.
He
turned me around on how I felt about him that game against the Chiefs, where it was like 49-52 or something. It was
that
just
crazy Monday night.
Yeah, where he was just airing it out. I mean, I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, you know, he has definitely proven a lot of people wrong in that Super Bowl year. I think a lot of his naysayers came out in droves last year, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Before we do move on to our picks for Week 3, I do want to talk about Russell Wilson, and I know he's certainly not a value play at this point. He is in that upper echelon of those QBs that you want. And I'm just curious because I mentioned the numbers earlier. He's having a fantastic start, an MVP type of start, and especially seeing how this NFC West is stacking up where, I mean, if the 49ers right now, with how beat up they are, still remain a factor. The Rams look like they're bouncing back. They're a huge factor. Obviously, Kyler and the Cardinals. And if the Seahawks can come out of this division, win that division, I feel like Russell Wilson could be a lock for his first MVP. If he gets that MVP, where does he rank? Where does his card value go? Is he at the Patrick Mahomes level at that point? Is he just a shade under it? Where do you think Russell Wilson ranks if he gets an MVP? And hell, if he gets another Super Bowl on top of it all?
I think getting another Super Bowl will, sway it. I think that Patrick Mahomes is still if you go Tom Brady, the next one that's actively playing is Patrick Mahomes, and then I think you have Russell Wilson behind that. So I think it would take – I think the MVP wouldn't sway the scales too much, but I think another Super Bowl absolutely would.
So, I mean, it's safe to say that within the last year or two, Russell Wilson has jumped over the likes of Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because you've got Drew Brees in, 2002, and you have Rodgers in 2005. Cards were different then. Topps made cards for Russell Wilson's time too, but it just wasn't the same kind of cards being made, and I think a lot of people that jumped in during our era, I mean, we weren't even in it when Brees and Rodgers were selling when they were rookies. We weren't even doing it. So, but we came in 2010, so we seen Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, and Robert Griffin, right, that year, which was a big year, we thought. And who emerged from that pack is obviously Russell Wilson, who wasn't even the biggest name coming out. But yeah, I think because, and that's what's weird about this hobby, is that I think it's like, what have you done for me lately? You know, Aaron Rodgers obviously won a Super Bowl. Brees has won a Super Bowl. Brees has broken a ton of records. I think when it's all said and done, Brees will probably maybe outsell Rodgers just because of his accomplishments. But I think it's going to take some time to get there. But right now, Russell Wilson has gotten everybody's attention.
Brees was what year again?
2002.
2002. So the one,
and he was on the Chargers.
The one constant, though, is, and I know that the manufacturer changed, but they all three have Contenders autos.
Yes.
But the look of the Contenders auto definitely has changed. I think Aaron Rodgers for sure is a sticker auto. I think they were all sticker autos.
Yeah, it was owned by Playoff.
It was owned by Playoff.
Panini at the time.
Which National Treasures was also owned by Playoff.
Yeah. Well, I think that personally, I think the sky's the limit for Russell Wilson, because it doesn't feel like his career is going to be over anytime soon.
No.
That's I think the other thing on his side, and I think there's one, that the longevity, and two, I think if he retired tomorrow, this is just me, I think he's still a Hall of Famer. So his legacy to me is already set, and the sky's the limit for where it can go.
Well, and I think there's something to also think about, is the fact that if you look at Brady and you look at Wilson, what's the one thing that they have in common? They've had the same coach as well.
Yeah.
So I think you could have the best quarterback in the league, the most talented quarterback to throw on the field. If you don't have a coach that knows how to scheme and win games, then I think you're going to lose that kind of talent. I think you're seeing that with Darnold. I honestly think Darnold is more talented than he looks like, but it's just a mess. I mean, that team is a mess. People don't want to play for the Jets, where, you know, Pete Carroll, it might be I'm going to ride with Russell Wilson my career, and the same thing, you know. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Andy Reid, obviously, he's had a lot of success in his coaching life. Yep. He got his first Super Bowl last year, but he went there with the Eagles. And, you know, you're seeing him and Patrick Mahomes really kind of click together there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's wrap things up here. Week 3 is upon us, and once again, Dan is just
How does it feel to be the leader of the clubhouse right now?
How does he do it?
I don't know. I wake up every day, and I'm just like, I ask myself the same thing, Cody. How do I do it? How do I do it?
Dan is now 4-0, picking the Packers of the Chiefs last week. I'm now sitting at 2-2. 2-0 last week. Thank you very much, Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. Doug got one win. The 49ers got the home team win. Patriots could not pull it off in Seattle. So sitting
Come
at
on,
1
Cam. Why did we do
3.
I-form, Cam? Why did we have to pitch it? Everybody knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. My
Pete
6-year-old
Carroll.
daughter knew it was coming.
Pete Carroll was giggling, saying, not so easy, running it from the goal line right at the end of the game, huh? That's what I thought. Don't criticize me anymore.
Why couldn't he take a page out of what he does with Tom Brady when they need 1 yard?
Yeah.
He just has him throw himself in the end zone. You have a guy that's like 6 inches taller than Tom Brady that could have just stretched it out, got it in there. I don't know why we threw it to the side. I don't know.
My issue, though, is right before, like maybe the touchdown before that, he did like a little fake quarterback draw, went back and had a wide open fullback in the end zone. There was not like a player near him, like within 5 feet. That play really worked. I would have considered going back to that play. Yeah. There would have been, I mean, he could have had his choice of players out in the flat to throw to. But, you know.
And that's the thing, is I'm not out here just taking gimme games. I actually picked the Patriots to beat the Seahawks, and I was a yard away from getting that correct.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do my picks. It's not about picking difficult games, though. It's about getting those W's.
You play to win the game.
And W's are what I get. So, first game, Jets and Colts. I'm going Colts. Jets. I mean, I can give you guys a little tidbit here. If you guys want to win some games, just pick the team that's going against the Jets.
The Jets are going to get one win this year, though.
You want to win,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you
maybe.
could,
At least
you,
one.
But you can get 15 W's. I mean, just to give you guys a heads up. I mean, I'm here to teach. I'm here to hook you guys.
Dan
up.
plays Madden on easy, by the way. So.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going Colts. I think it's a no-brainer. Bet the farm on it.
Mm-hmm.
And second game is going to be 49ers at the New York Football Giants. This is the injury game. I don't know what players they're going to have out there. I do know that obviously Bosa's out. Garoppolo maybe a game day decision on that one, but I'm going to go 49ers. I actually think the Giants right now are the second worst team in the league.
So you're just a fan of New York.
I'm a great
Big
fan.
Yeah.
But I'm going Colts 49ers. Lock it in.
And I'm going Colts as well. We didn't talk before we made our picks, but I'm going Colts over Jets. I think that's an easy one. I think Jonathan Taylor gets another 100 yards. I'm actually also going to go Falcons over Bears. Bears are 2-0, so that's not an easy pick right there. Falcons are at home. They are not going to lose another game based on what happened last week. I think they're going to come out ultra motivated. They're going to be in the Mercedes-Benz Dome over there, where I know you've had some great memories, and they're going to get the job done. I think all these stats that have been piling up are it's going to make it happen. I think Trubisky's going to throw a few picks. That team shouldn't be 2-0. I think they've had some luck. And I don't think that they're like a legitimate 2-0 team.
Yeah, Trubisky completed a pass totally accidental, I think, to an offensive lineman last week. So at some point that luck's got to run out. We'll see. I'm gonna go with one of the premier matchups of the weekend: the Seahawks taking on the Cowboys. I'm going Seattle.
See, that's a gutsy pick.
I think though that we were talking about it a little bit before the show. Those first three quarters, Atlanta was clearly the better football team than Dallas. Obviously, Dak Prescott had some heroics there at the end. It is a very talented team, but I'm going to go Russell Wilson. If you're going Russell Wilson versus Dak Prescott, it's a slam dunk. It's Russell Wilson. Even with some of those injuries that Seattle has, I'm still going to go with Seattle. And then I'm going to go with an ugly matchup. The Washington football team, which still feels weird to say, you couldn't have figured something out, versus the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go Cleveland here because I don't see a lot of wins on the schedule for Cleveland, but Washington feels like about as good a chance as they're going to get.
I like that
believe
one.
Cleveland's at home for this one, so I'm going to go with Baker and the Cleveland Browns getting the win over the Washington football team.
Baker looked he was playing angry last week. I think he's kind of realized that I all these commercials I've done and all this, I'm the next guy in Cleveland. I may not have my job this year. So I need to go out there and get S done, and I think he's doing it. And I think he's going to get another W.
It's hard to market a guy who loses every game. Those commercial like the Hulu is going to stop knocking on for Baker Mayfield. What else does he have? He has
that Hulu commercial too has Saquon Barkley.
But so he has Hulu, and then is there
what's the one where he's cleaning the stadium?
Yeah, is it an insurance company?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I think it's like State Farm or something.
Yeah, it's probably State Farm.
Yeah. So how long can you keep going with that? Luckily, there's no Johnny Manziel commercials still floating around.
That would be great though.
Boy, yeah, imagine.
Well, it's almost like he's like an artist that their first album, they're really struggling to kind of make it, and then they get a little bit of money, and I think that was his second year. And he really learned that, hey, this NFL game's not very easy.
Do you think there is anything psychological with putting that jersey on and being a quarterback for the Browns?
You can't doubt that at this point. I mean, many quarterbacks as they've had in the last 20 years it's insane.
I mean, it just seems like I mean, if the Browns, I don't think they're going to get the first overall pick. Actually, if the Jets get the first overall pick, both those teams just got done drafting their franchise quarterback not too long ago. Trevor Lawrence is probably the undeniable first overall pick.
Yeah.
Do the Jets, and I know this is off topic, do the Jets give up on Sam Darnold? Do the Browns give up on Baker? Do the Giants give up on Daniel Jones?
I don't think that's completely out of the question. I mean, just look at what Arizona did a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. They thought Josh Rosen
Yep.
was the guy, and then they decided, nope, it's Kyler, and turns out so far to be a great choice. So I think if it's the right guy, and Trevor Lawrence sounds like the right guy.
I guess it
I
all
wouldn't be
depends on if Gase is there, because Gase, correct me if I'm wrong,
He's holding them back.
He drafted Darnold,
Yeah, he
right?
drafted Darnold.
So Kingsbury came in, he didn't draft Rosen, so he didn't
That's
have much attached to it, where he felt like, hey, whoever was here before did it wrong, I'm going to start my own way. So I think if Gase is still there, I don't think he can do that move and pick Lawrence. But I think if they fire Gase, bring in somebody else, then I think it's completely open.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any way Gase lasts much longer.
I
this
don't think
season.
so.
Yeah, just terrible stuff going on there. Well, that'll wrap things up for this week's edition of the Mojobreak Blitz. Of course, remember to subscribe to us here on Mojobreak Media. Subscribe to our main feed, Mojobreak. We also got the Mojobreak card shop. Subscribe to that. Like the videos. Comment on the videos. We would love to hear some feedback from you. Until next time, for Doug and Dan, I'm Cody. We will talk to you next week on the Mojobreak Blitz.